Hi, I'm Jim Werter. I'm running for re-election to the St. Augustine Airport Authority Board, Group Number 4, voting to take place on November 14th. Over the past 4 years, we've taken the airport off your tax rolls. We're here to service 195,000 people of St. Johns County. Over the past 4 years also, we've added jobs to the county as well as just on the airport, and it is our intent to bring in more services for everybody in St. Johns County. We are still actively looking at getting an airline service here, but that's not to say that we're going to become another international airport. We are here to stay the ancient city airport. Thank you.
Yeah, Pete, would you like to?
Okay, well, you mentioned jobs, so let's talk about the job engine. Airports in many communities are indeed that job engines, and one of the ways to do that is by using their proximity land next to it, which you guys own, for industrial development. Do you have any plans in that direction, and if so, what are they?
Just to clarify, the land that we have already.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Well, some of that land is designated towards leasing towards other companies, aviation-oriented companies. Hopefully Grumman will expand on the airport, which means an increase in jobs. If we get, when we get feeder airlines, and we're talking a smaller scale feeder airlines, we're not talking another major international airport. Some other people like to think we're doing that. But when we bring those in, we will have collateral businesses on the premises. Car rental agencies will expand and use some more of that spaces. But on that side note, what we've done with some of the property, like for instance the Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary to the Air Force, we have given them some of the property to use for their club and their meetings. And if you remember, the Civil Air Patrol is not only just a bunch of older guys flying search and rescue, but we cultivate young people in aviation. So yes, we do have plans. Over the past 4 years also, as a side note, on a piece of property that needed to be used, we put up a cell tower, which helped with income to the airport. All this additional income keeps us off the tax rolls.
Okay, let me just drill a bit further down on the job question. Our friends at Northrop Grumman pay very well. I believe the average salary is over $70,000 a year, and many of the people earn six figures, engineers and others. One of the arguments has been is that the airport will be a vehicle for creating, through uses on the property or near the property, creating similar type well-paying jobs either in the aviation industry or in some industry that requires close access to an airport. Is there anything in the works now, or anything that you were advocating that the airport authority do to create those kinds of jobs, well-paying jobs?
Not only, you got to take it out a little bit further. It's not only just on the airport, but businesses who want to relocate to St. Augustine or St. Johns County, who need that transportation hub here. Mm-hmm. We look at working with the Economic Development Committee of the Chamber of Commerce and aiding them in attracting business that's going to use our services on the airport. So it's not only just on the airport, it's also outside the airport. On the airport itself, where, like I said, the big thing right now, my big thing always is to get a replacement for Skybus, who went bankrupt not because of St. Augustine Airport. But to replace Skybus with the service, of course, they're going to bring jobs in, and there'll be some upper echelon jobs there. But we also look at the other surrounding supporting companies that will have the higher paying jobs. And we are continuously talking to Grumman about how we can help them expand their business and bring in more of those jobs. And as you know, and from your indications here, you bring in those jobs even if it's middle class jobs. The people become landowners, consumers, taxpayers, and they help keep the overall real estate taxes down by adding to the largest. So again, we help the county commission, so to speak, keep their taxes down as well by making us an attractive asset to the county.
Okay, let me just try this one more time. Are there any plans in the works for any kind of an enterprise that creates well-paying jobs, not jobs like in a rental car agency, but well-paying jobs such as one would find at Northrop Grumman, which is, of course, one of the stars in our...
Akin to a Grumman, no. no. What we're doing is off airport site by working with the St. John's Chamber of Commerce. That's how we're doing that. And of course, they brought in the energy company, the German energy company, which I found fascinating.
3G,
You know,
yes.
3G, correctly, at the last breakfast. But on the airport itself, no, right now we're targeting getting service in for the people, for the 195,000 people in the way of airline service. And then there are the other jobs. I mean, I would love to see a cargo carrier come in and out of there. So that's another thing that I'm looking at. But there's nothing specific as far as something on the magnitude of Grumman. And we do have a limited space.
It doesn't have to be as large as Grumman.
Yeah.
My point is that what I'm trying to get down to jobs that are well-paying. As you know, in our county, many of the jobs that people are seeking are low-paying.
Mhm.
Service industry, and there's a big push now to resume home building. Most of those jobs are not well-paying jobs, or okay-paying jobs, they're not great-paying jobs. Goal is to try and see if we can get jobs that attract people who are well-educated, which is a lot of the people in this county are well-educated, but they drive to Jacksonville to work.
No, I understand that. I was involved a little bit with Horizons St. John's, the think tank group. I think Kelly Werter took over my position. And of course, they're trying to woo people down here for that. On the airport, no. We have limited space for major industry. But quite honestly, also, it'd be nice to get those jobs, and I'm sure we will get some of those type of income level jobs. But we have to service more people. There are more people who need those middle class jobs and income. So I see that as a greater benefit right now. It's always nice to get the higher echelons, but you're talking what, 5% of society? And we want those people.
I'm not talking about upper echelon. 70,000 is an upper echelon, but it is family wage income.
Yeah, and I do bankruptcy law, and I look at the statistics, and for a family of 4, 75,000 just makes it. You know, really these days, family of 2. The U.S. Census Bureau shows about $51,000, $52,000 is the average income, you know, and we have a lot of the people that are actually below those income. They're in and out of my office almost every day. And yes, we'd like to get the higher echelons down here, and hopefully by some of these other businesses coming to St. John's, maybe not specifically on the airport, okay? There's no plan right now to turn St. Augustine Airport or Northeast Florida Regional Airport into a hub. First of all, I don't think anybody wants it to be a hub, but it won't bring in some big institution on premises.
Okay. You mentioned the cargo carrier. Anything in the works?
No, not right there. We're working on passenger service because that's what the people want here. They want a passenger service to connect them to Atlanta so they can get a regular airline, you know, a full-blown airline to take them to California or New York. So that's what we're looking to do, connect with the rest of the country. Also to South Florida, the Panhandle, and hopefully, since we have a customs office, the islands, a regular flight to the islands. I'd love to see that.
Okay. Before I get everybody, I know that people around me are eager to ask you about, to drill down on another passenger airline. Let's just ask you what's up with trimodal plans. The soon-to-be late Representative Micah was a big proponent of doing some trimodal work at the airport. The economy got bad. Those conversations have gone away. I want to know what's happening with this.
Nothing right now because of the grants that were turned down by the governor, and rightfully so. We didn't want to be saddled with any overages. When I say we, I mean the state of Florida. And I think that was a good call on his part because the grant offered by the federal government wasn't complete enough to cover the expenses, and we're in a hurting state right now economically, you know, even as a state. So with the governor turning away the grants, the multimodal situation is on hold. It is definitely not going away. We'd love to see Amtrak come through and stop at our airport. I think it's the perfect hub to have the trimodal situation. Right now that's on hold.
Okay.
Margaret?
Yeah. A few weeks ago, I was talking to the airport authority director out at a party, and I said, "So where are you with the next airline?" And he said, "We are working on it, and we're very close." And so what does that mean to the airport authority. What does very close mean?
Well, I concur with him. You know, I have discussion with him on a regular basis about that. And they're close. It's on the cusp. It's always the economy. Whenever the oil industry takes a little fluctuation, you know, something goes on hold. But he's looking at, and we don't like to jinx things by naming people. So, you know, that's, you know, we kind of hide our cards a little bit because we don't want to scare off anybody by advertising, oh, so-and-so's coming to St. Augustine.
Right, I understand.
But they are close, and it's a matter of cutting through the private industry bureaucracy for the top of the people in the corporations, you know, the airline corporations, to make a final decision. And we're very competitive with Jacksonville International, because if you look at Jacksonville demographics, where have they shifted to? Southward. We don't just service St. Johns County, really. We service South Jacksonville, you know, South District, and the Palm Coast area. If we have a feeder airline here, people from Flagler County are going to come up here. People from Bay Meadows or you know, the St. John's area, which is still St. John's, you know, the 52259 area. They're not going to drive all the way up north. They're going to come down here, jump on an airline, and go to where they want to go. You know, coincidentally, when I decided to reopen my practice 12, 13 years ago, it was a decision. I live up north. Did I want to drive through to downtown Jacksonville, or did I want to come down here? I came down here. It was easier drive. Also, I like being a small town lawyer. So.
Well, I understand that too, and I know some people who speak very highly of your legal skills on their behalf.
Thank you.
But what kind of, so what are we looking for? Are we looking for a Skybus type airline? Are we looking for
They used
an upstart that, you know?
Well, I'm sorry.
You said you were looking for, and I couldn't hear what you just said. Margot asked if you're looking for Skybus, and you said something I didn't.
Oh, they use the A119 they were using, which was a remarkable Airbus, you know, the Airbus. Remarkable airplane. It's kind of like so quiet through the sky, because we are conscious of our neighbors. We don't want to offend our neighbors. And it's a really neat aircraft. But we're looking for either a startup or a young, established airline that has a good plan. Skybus, unfortunately, was underfunded for the opportunities they were providing, but someone who's going to be there for a while. And that's the kind of situation we're looking for, the people that can fill their airplanes here. You know, seeing a 737 coming in there, I don't see it, because I don't know if we could fill it or not. I think we could on a 737. If you go to a 757, there might be a question, and also I don't think our neighbors would like us very much.
A lot louder too.
Yeah.
Big.
But yeah, a good feeder airline that would take us to Orlando to catch a flight, Miami if they want to go to Miami on business, or Tallahassee, or up to you know, Atlanta or Charleston, or rather Charlotte, excuse me, or Charleston, you know, wherever, and that way you can connect to the rest of the world.
And what kind of incentives does the airport have to offer to get this kind of airline in?
Several different ones. There's lower overhead in working out of our airport. We are not going to command a high per passenger fee. See, the FAA allows the airlines to charge each each passenger on their ticket. You know, I don't know if it's outlined in the ticket itself, I don't remember, but there's a certain per passenger cost that goes to the FAA. Okay, we can offer a lower per passenger cost. Also, we have faster in and out for the airline, to the terminal, to the runway, which means it saves them fuel. And also to the airlines, look at the new demographics today, not 15 years ago. The population is in North St. Johns County, which is the drifting population of Jacksonville, and the population of Flagler County. We cover a very wide area. We would be a major player for that geographic area.
So probably 300,000.
Oh, easily. More. I would, yeah.
From south to Flagler.
Yeah. I mean, up north you got, well, how many in St. Johns County? 195,000. So yeah, maybe that's a fair estimate, or maybe even more because of South Jacksonville. Yeah.
You have to have Putnam County to replace. So
that's true. True. Putnam County. What's it? 95,000 Putnam County.
Yeah.
65 or 95. I forget which.
They have 39 precincts. I just remember that number from last night. Okay.
I noticed in your, what you had sent us has talked about your involvement in the community and the participation with local school programs with the airport.
Yes.
Could you expand on that a little bit? I'm not familiar with
The St. John's Academy, you know, they have several different programs, and there's an aeronautical, not aviation, but aeronautical program, and they are very progressive. We have interns that work with us. We have a representative that goes to them and see what we can do for them over at St. Augustine High School. And they have a lot of scholarships that come out of that school that get awarded to that school. They were even working with Gainesville, UF, for you Gator fans, you know, as far as alternative energy, they were actually working with NASA in playing with alternative energy. In other words, oil derived from algae, that kind of situation. Very good high school.
How long has that program been in existence, do you know?
Well, the whole program, 5 years? Thank you. I knew at least 4, but I couldn't tell you beyond 4.
Yeah, I was just curious if that was under the current administration at the authority board.
As Peter said, about 4 years ago.
Okay.
5 years ago, I'm sorry, 5 years ago.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
It's considered one of the most successful of the high school academies.
Good. Super.
Yeah, there's been an assertion that we're not community-minded. You know about our nature park that we have partially open. We're still expanding on it, and you could view nature and aviation at the same time from that park, and it's done with volunteer people, no tax dollars. And it's very nice to take a walk through. We have the conference center that's open to the whole public for use. If they want to have a meeting there or an event there, they just contact the administration building and they set it up.
You mentioned cargo, and maybe I should know this, but I don't. And that is, you have a very unique situation being on the water with that. Do you see, is that still potential for transportation of cargo? It's
been dredged out and developed with no injury to the environment, by the way, and I have something on that. And Grumman is now using it to take aircraft in and out of that, aircraft that they finished refurnishing. It's a great sight to see them crane it onto a barge, and then it's taken up to where it needs to go.
So you see that as additional opportunity?
Oh, sure, but on a small scale. You know, this is St. Augustine. You know, this is St. Johns County. I'm from New York. But I've been in North Florida for 31 years. I've loved this pace. I go down to South Florida and I'm glad I landed in North Florida. So.
A lot of people in South Florida wish that they had.
Yeah, no joke.
Yes.
On the tax rolls,
Yes.
we're the 3rd year, right?
We're going on our 3rd year,
Okay.
no taxes.
Is there anything in the forecast that might change that plan?
For the better.
Well, for the better. Okay, for the better.
Just our continued pursuit of the commercial business in and for the airport and through the airport. Remember fuel taxes and user fees and things of that nature. The more our airport gets used, the more companies that work on our airport. Unfortunately, you know about SNK. We lost Hoke Smith there, who was a wonderful guy, and I was shocked when it happened because of his extensive helicopter experience. And then the company went into bankruptcy. We already have a business that's moving into their spaces once the bankruptcy situation is resolved. So we keep on pushing, and we just expect to grow. We don't see anything less. Even in a bad economy, we're still off the tax rolls.
Yeah. And you still have the flight training, flight service training academy?
We have 2 flight schools now. During my stay there, we aided this school to get started, another new school that they do a lot of catering to the European market. They're the people who have the money to come in and fly, so we are getting money from Europe, you know, in the way of commerce, you know, with the new flight school. But it is open to the general public too. Unfortunately, with general aviation in America, and I have my roots in general aviation 38 years ago with the Air Force Club, and then as a military pilot, and then back in the civil world. It's a hard field because it just gets more expensive. The new aircraft that we're making, people generally can't afford. Only the elite few can afford to put down $350,000 for an airplane, you know, a brand new airplane. And the other aircraft, they're getting older by the year. The average age of aircraft and general aviation keeps getting older and older, just like us general aviators, you know, so.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Good. More questions? Well, Jim, do you have more?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, Jim, we appreciate you being here. If you'd like to
Thank
make
you.
your closing statement, we'd welcome that.
Oh, thank you. I'm Jim Werter. Again, I'm running for the Airport Authority, St. Augustine Airport Authority. We're here for your community, not only on the business level, but on the social level too. Please vote for me again this year and keep a winning team.